Hello everybody, and welcome to another Vintage Cube Draft. This is a medium starting pack, a couple reasonable considerations. First of all, there is Goblin Guide. I don't typically like first picking cards like this, but it is the only good red aggressive card in the pack, and it's one of the best red aggressive cards for that sort of deck. I'm not going to take it here, but I think that's a reasonable pick. Reanimator is pretty strong. It's you need to build around it slightly, but it's very, very powerful in Reanimator, of course. There's also Treachery, which is just a good blue card. It also has the advantage of being the only good blue mid-range card in the pack. So that's an option. And then there's Library of Alexandria, which is very strong. It can be a little slow. It's not always going to be good, but if you're playing a control mirror, then this card can completely take over the game. I think I'm going to take Reanimate, though, actually. This is not a card that I typically first pick. It's a little bit narrow, but it's extremely powerful, and I think it's worth a speculative pick here. If there was a better blue card, like a Mana Leak, I would probably take that, but I think Reanimate's great. And now we can take Vampiric Tutor. Really good thing to follow it up with. There's also Flooded Strand, Consecrated Sphinx. If we had taken the Goblin Guide, we could take Hazaret potentially. But let's take the Vampiric Tutor. This is not the best card in just a normal mid-range deck, but it's very good in combo decks. So, works well with the Reanimate. Yeah, let's take this. So, the best card we could find now would be something like Entomb. No Entomb here, but some good options. So, we'll take a Shallow Grave. Duress is also solid, but I want to cut Reanimator. This isn't like seeing a third pick Shallow Grave isn't a huge signal, but it is still kind of nice. Reanimate and Shallow Grave don't always work with the same creatures. So like Shallow Grave Hullbreaker Horror is pretty terrible, but Reanimate Hullbreaker Horror is good. On the other hand, like Shallow Grave works with Emrakul, whereas Reanimate does not. And then there's some that are good with both, like Griselbrand. Duress is also just a great card. Very solid, interactive card. If this happened to wheel, I'd be very happy, but we'll take the Shallow Grave. Okay, interesting. So there's Mana Leak. There's Mana Leak and Jace, both of which are solid enablers. They both are... Mana Leak is solid interaction. Jace is a solid enabler because it lets you discard cards. So you can play this on turn 2, then turn 3, reanimate, like discard whatever is your biggest thing, and then reanimate it. But I think I'm just going to take Imperial Seal. Really double down on the consistency. With Vampiric Tutor plus Imperial Seal, we can almost always find our key card. We really, really want to find Entomb now. Entomb is the card that we usually want to get with this. So Reanimator is in general a 3-card combo. You need the big boy, the reanimation spell, and then a way to put it into the graveyard. And that could be like a Putrid Imp, it could be the Jace discard, something like that. But Entomb does 2 of the things for you. It gets you the big boy, and it puts it straight into the graveyard. So that's the best thing to pair with this. Now, if we have like Imperial Seal plus Reanimate, then we can put something into play on turn 2, which is pretty sweet. Just turn 1 Imperial Seal, turn 2, and put Entomb on top, then Entomb Reanimate. And now we see Animate Dead. That's great. Reanimator looks to be very open here. Polluted Delta is also a reasonable consideration, but we will take the very good reanimation spell. Oh my goodness. All right. We're taking Archon. That's one of the best reanimation spells. It works well with Shallow Grave. If you Shallow Grave Archon of Cruelty, you gain 6, hit them for 12, make them discard 2 cards, make them sacrifice 2 permanents, you draw 2 cards, just like really, really strong. There's also Dark Ritual, which is actually a card that I think is good in this sort of Reanimator deck. You just really want to be fast. So that is a good card as well. I would take Dark Ritual over most reanimation spells, or most reanimation targets, but it's like Archon and Griselbrand are the 2 cards that I would take over Dark Ritual here. But we'll take the Archon. Okay, we'll take Liliana now. Tendrils of Agony can be good, especially if you get Griselbrand. You can like put Griselbrand into play, draw 14 cards, like find maybe like Lotus, Black Lotus, or like Lotus Petal at least, Dark Ritual, something else, Tendrils, and kill them that way. Frantic Search is also a pretty good enabler, but I would prefer to be mono black, so the mana base is much more consistent. So I think we'll take Lily. Not the best so far. The +1 is good against creature decks, and the -2 is typically good against control. It's better when we have more small creatures to be bringing back and casting with this, but still, we'll take the solid Planeswalker in our colors. And now I'll take a Shriekmaw. That's exactly the kind of card you want to pair with Liliana. There's also Wheel of Fortune, which is pretty good if we're playing red. Nurturing Peatland would probably be an upgrade over a basic Swamp, because it just can mitigate Mana Flood. And actually, maybe that is the pick. There's also Terracodon as a reanimation card, but I think I'll take the Shriekmaw, cut black. I guess I should mention Olivia too. Olivia's fine, but not great. We'll take the Shriek Maw. Okay, black is extremely open. Snuff Out's great. Dam is solid too, but Snuff Out is definitely better. The 4 life is not completely irrelevant, but being a 0 mana instant speed spell removal spell is kind of incredible. The best card in the format against twin combo. Also just like really nice if we have a low curve and we want to be developing. We can be spending our mana to cast our spells and still be interacting with the opponent. Okay, there's a Cabal Ritual. There's also Memory Jar. Cabal, Memory, I don't think either one is likely to make the cut. Memory Jar is just a little too slow. I'm not really interested in 5 mana cards. It does let us fill up our graveyard and dig through our deck, which is pretty nice, but I still think I'll take the Ritual here. Now, let's see. Sun Titan is an option. It's an okay reanimator card. It's good, like you can like reanimate Sun Titan, bring back Animate Dead to bring back something else. I think I'm just going to take the Basalt Monolith, though. It's not guaranteed to be good, but if our reanimation spells are hard castable with swamps, then this could get there. If we have, like, Archon, Grizzlebrand, and, like, Sundering Titan, then this works pretty well. Okay, I'm just going to take the Fatal Push. We could take the Xander's Lounge and try and go Grixis, but Mono Black is open. I just want to be Mono Black and have perfect, consistent mana. Now we'll take the Wishclaw Talisman. Solid. All right, really, really good pack 1 for us. We have the second best reanimation target, 3 very cheap reanimation spells, 2 tutors to be consistent, a lot of cheap spot removal for creatures. Yeah, and we've also just carved out a very open lane. The things that we're missing right now, first of all, discard spells. We did not wield a Duress, which is not surprising, but no Duress. Crooks is pretty interesting. So we'll cut these, which I'm not thrilled about playing. No discard spells, so Thoughtseize and Inquisition of Kozilek would be really nice. Also, we need a couple more reanimation targets. Archon of Cruelty is great, but we do need a few more. And then we also need ways to discard. That's the number one thing that we're looking for right now. We have no actual ways to put things into the graveyard yet, which is fine. It's still early, but that's something that we're going to need to find. Okay, this pack is pretty bad for us, unfortunately. Woe Strider is fine. Mistress Bauble is kind of interesting. I think Bauble is probably the take here. It's really good with shuffle effects, so it's like if we have Vampiric Tutor and Bauble, we can Bauble ourselves, and then if we like the card, we'll just draw it, and if we don't, we can Vampiric Tutor. Yeah, I think that is the pick. And then like Evolved Sleeper, Woe Strider, both kind of medium. Sphinx of the Steel Wind is an okay reanimation target, but it's pretty bad unless you're playing against mono red or mono green. So yeah, let's take the Bauble. Looks like a kind of unassuming card, but I actually think it's quite good here, and it will become even better if we get more ways to shuffle our deck, like Entomb. Okay, not a great pack here either. I think we take the Massacre Worm. Bloodchief's Thirst is solid removal, but we already have a lot of good cheap removal with Snuff Out, Fatal Push, and Shriek Maw. This can hit Planeswalkers, and if it wheels, I'll be happy about that. But I think Massacre Worm is pretty good. This is a reanimation spell that's also hard castable. It's not always good, but it's situationally incredible. Very, very good against creature decks. Great against cards like Lingering Souls. And just like a reasonable hard castable threat. Okay, couple good options here. I don't think we need Infernal Grasp, but it is a good card. The card we want the most is Hymn to Torok, and this card might come around because I think no one else is heavy black, but it is really, really strong, and there could be some sort of like blue-black control deck that took Duress and wants to play him. The other option is Ashen Rider, which is an okay reanimation card, but not my favorite. I think I'm just going to take the Hymn and make sure we get it. Yeah, like the high upside pick is to go Ashen Rider and try and wield him, but I don't even like Ashen Rider that much, and I really, really want to have him in the deck, so let's just make sure we get the card that we really care about. This is also a card, like Corpse Dance or something, is a card that we might want that no one else would want, that's only good in Reanimator, but Hymn to Torok is just generically powerful. Any deck that can make black mana is going to be interested in this effect, so it's not a card that's as likely to come around. Okay, here we have Sheoldred and Una's Prowler. A lot of good black cards also. Just Kolaghan's Command, Grist, Zaitor's Proving Ground, Mystical Tutor could be good. Sheoldred is not a card that I love, to be honest. It can be really good, especially if you have like Dark Ritual into turn 2 Sheoldred. But if they kill it, it doesn't really leave any lasting impact other than a little bit of life loss, and we're not an aggressive deck, really. Like, if we're playing like in black red burn, this card can be pretty good, where like if they just draw 2 cards, take 4, and then kill it, you get good value out of it. But I think I'm going to take Una's Prowler. This is another card that I think is somewhat likely to wheel, but I really don't think Sheoldred is even a card I want in this deck. And Una's Prowler is very, very important. We need discard outlets. Although Liliana is much better than Una's Prowler, so I'm happy to get that. We'll definitely take this here. Bloodghast could be a good sideboard card, but yeah, let's take the Lily. Really, really good pickup. And wow! Okay, we're taking Demonic Tutor, but this pack is insane. Crypt Breaker would be really good. We would play Marsh Flats for the Mishra's Bauble, and Toxic Deluge is very, very good against creature decks. The fact that we already have such good ways, so many ways to kill creatures is good, so it makes Deluge a little bit less important. There could actually be a world where I would take Deluge over Demonic Tutor if we had no spot removal and our reanimation targets were not good against creatures. But given where we are, easy Demonic Tutor. This is just a phenomenal card. And now we get Putrid Imp. Great. Sensei's Divining Top could be good, but we need some discard outlets. Alright, this deck is really looking strong. So we're getting to the point where I'm a little bit worried about the lack of reanimation targets. Just Archon and Massacre Worm is not enough. Ooh, wow. Okay, I think we got to take the Bazaar. I love Grief. This is a good card for this deck. It's interactive. We can also play it on turn 1 by evoking it, and then just like animate dead on turn 2, and that's pretty solid. So I would take this over most cards, but we have tons of playables. I'm not really worried about getting enough playables, and Bazaar of Baghdad is a really, really strong enabler. Yeah, let's take the Bazaar. Okay. I don't think I want either of these lands, so it's Woe Strider versus Sphinx of the Steel Wind. Woe Strider is just like a solid card. We are going to be filling our graveyard really quickly versus a card that's a really good sideboard option against certain decks. But I think we already have a really good matchup against decks. Like, we already can beat mono green and mono red pretty well. So I think I'm going to take Woe Strider. It may or may not make the main deck, but it's good against control and just when we need more grindy threats. Now I'll take a Bloodchief's Thirst. Good pickup. Ashen Rider Wield. Sweet. Our Infernal Grasp is reasonable, but we have, again, just so much spot removal, so I'd rather take the good target. Alright, black is open. I think I'm going to take a land before taking one of the spells. Probably not playing any of them, though. Bloodghast Wield, nice. Deck looks really, really strong. If we can get Entomb and Grizzlebrand and Mox Jet, it'll be in the running for the best Reanimator deck I've ever made. In particular, Entomb. Especially with 3 tutors, having access to even 4 if we play this Wishclaw Talisman. Just having access to the card Entomb would be so, so good. And I think no one is going to take Entomb, no one other than us. So, wow. I mean, this shows you all you need to know about this draft. I think I like Crypt Breaker slightly better. Really close, but given just the pure quantity of spot removal, I think that's fine. This deck would be totally playable now. We could just play like Wishclaw Talisman and Woe Strider and 17 basics, and this would be a really, really solid Reanimator deck, and we still have an entire pack. Okay, sort of a brick of a pack to start. Custodian Lich is fine, although it'll probably come around. Lotus Petal gives us a little bit of a speed boost. And then there's like Elish Norn Cityscape Leveler as medium reanimation targets. Neither one is thrilling. Like, in particular, Cityscape Leveler has no, if they can just kill it, it doesn't do anything. You need to be able to attack with it to get any value. And then Elish Norn is like a similar version of Massacre Worm. I think I'll just take the Lich and then like maybe wheel one of these. Pretty bad pack though. This card is really good against control, but it's not a card I'm thrilled about having in the main deck. Okay, there's Inkwell Leviathan. That's a good reanimation target. But I think I'm just going to take Silent Clearing here. We have tons of playables. I want cards that add consistency. Rishadan Port is also pretty good, but I think I would rather have Silent Clearing to mitigate Mana Flood. Close pick, though. Dark Confidant's kind of interesting. Cards like this are Dark Confidant specifically weird in Reanimator because we have a couple really expensive cards that are terrible to flip to Dark Confidant, but most of your cards are really cheap. So kind of funny interplay. It is a card that I would play at least out of the sideboard for certain matchups, but let's just take the land. Okay, Grave Titan is a card that I'm very interested in. There's like Hero's Downfall, Bitter Blossom are fine. We could play Probe, but this is a card that's very easy to hardcast and also really good to reanimate. Yeah, that's a great pickup. Come on, Entomb. It's not too late. Okay, what do we have here? A couple lands that could help us. And then Ulamog. Ulamog is good with Shallow Grave, but nothing else. If we already had Entomb, we could maybe do it, because that's a pretty easy to assemble 2-card combo. Just all we need is 3 mana, Entomb, Shallow Grave. But we don't have the Entomb yet, so I think I'm just going to take Damnation for the sideboard. We already passed Toxic Deluge, and having access to 1 board sweeper is kind of nice. I think we already have a pretty good matchup there, but it's always kind of an interesting thing with picks like this. Like, I think against creature decks, we're probably like 75% to win already. Damnation puts us to 85%. So it's helping a good matchup to become even better, which is not the number one priority. I would rather address the weaknesses, which like Thoughtseize would do, because that's good against control. But still, helping a good matchup to become even better is still valuable. And there's the Entomb. You'll love to see it. There's also Chrome Mox, which would be great here, and we could get super greedy and try to wheel the Entomb, but I'm not willing to take that risk. Best card we could get here, absolute slam dunk. Maybe we can wheel Voidwalker, which would be a nice sideboard card, or maybe even a nice main deck card, but Entomb is great. This deck is looking very, very strong. Now we just need to, like, if we could find one more premium reanimation target, that would be good. Although I guess with 4, we're kind of okay already. But like, if we could replace this Ashen Rider with Grizzlebrand, I would feel better about things. This is probably going to be a 15 land deck, maybe 16 because of Bazaar of Baghdad. Here, I'll go down to the cards that are absolute 100% main deck that I would never cut. Then I think we could cut one of the spot removal spells, maybe Bloodchief's Thirst. So these 19 spells are like absolutely uncuttable under any circumstance. Okay, really good pack here. We're going to take the Exhume. Bone Shards is a good enabler, and also just a good interactive spell. And then Mirror Battlesphere is another solid piece of top end to reanimate, but Exhume is great. We got a bunch of reanimation spells early, but we didn't get many last pack. Not because other people were taking them, but just because they weren't opened. So right now we have Reanimate, Animate Dead, and Shallow Grave. That's not really enough, so I'm very, very happy to get a 4th. And there's the Grizzle Daddy. That is just beautiful. This deck is incredible. Just a really good pack here. Every single card in this pack, other than potentially Murktide Region, is a very, very good card in a lot of decks. But easy Grizzlebrand for us. Okay, now we could take... We don't need Scrubland. Progenitus does not work with reanimation stuff. Relic is a good sideboard card, but I think I'm just going to take the Factory. This is a solid card. Basically, like, in a monocolor deck, it's almost a strict upgrade over, like, the 14th Swamp or whatever. Yeah, really, really nice pickup. Okay, I think here we take... So, Lotus Petal is one option, and the other option is Elish Norn. But I don't really think we need Elish Norn. We already have Massacre Worm to kill small creatures. We also have Liliana, or a Damnation. So let's take Lotus Petal, and then maybe not play it in the main deck, but at the very least it'll be a good sideboard card, and it could be a main deck option. Okay, we'll take the black card. Bitter Blossom, not a bad sideboard option. Not playing any of these. Probably not playing Lotus Bloom, but it's not terrible. Alright, not getting the super late wheels, but that's fine. This deck looks amazing. So if we want to play 16 lands, we need to play 13 basics, which means 2 more cards that we're playing. So let's get Liliana back in here. And, interesting for the last card. Oh, Mirror Battlesphere. I think I'll just play that. Yeah, Mirror Battlesphere seems good. The other option would be like, could play, actually maybe Custodial Lich is better. Could play Woe Strider, could play Wishclaw Talisman. Pretty close. Maybe Custodial Lich is better. Yeah, I'll play Lich over Mirror Battlesphere. It's close, but I think I like that. All right. And do we play this Lotus Petal? I think I will play it. This is the kind of deck that can combo on turn 1 if we have Lotus Petal, and on turn 2 pretty consistently with Lotus Petal. Yeah, that seems worth it. This deck is really, really strong. We don't have discard spells. Like, the lack of Thoughtseize and Inquisition is the one great weakness of this deck, but tons of cheap spot removal, really low curve, all of the best reanimation targets that are also hard castable, 4 cheap reanimation spells, just a really, really good deck all around. Very solid mana base, too. Yeah, I love this deck. I think it's going to be very powerful. We have a good sideboard option, multiple good sideboard options, too. Deck looks great. See you in round 1. All right, here we are for round 1 against Child Roland. We are on the draw, unfortunately. Our 2 is no match for their 3 on the die roll. I think this hand is not a keep. It's like totally playable. We have good interaction. Maybe it is a keep, but it's not explosive and it's pretty far away from comboing. I think we can just find hand that can put a huge thing into play on like turn 2. Yeah, I think we ship this. In a worse deck, I would keep this because it's totally playable, and it's in fact really good against some decks, but I think this hand is good enough that we can mulligan to something better. This hand actually is better. It looks kind of awkward, but I'm going to keep it just on the strength of Bazaar of Baghdad. We can put 2 huge creatures into the graveyard really quickly and just dig for tutor or reanimation spell. We could do this right now in case we draw exactly Lotus Petal plus Reanimate, but I think I'd rather just pass, see what they do, and inform our discard decision a bit more. Okay, Rakdos Signet. That's fine. And the turn we'll use the Bazaar. So we get to look at 5 new cards. Shallow Grave. Okay. Okay, what I'm going to do is discard Cryptbreaker, Swamp, Grizzlebrand. No, so Cryptbreaker, Swamp. Can we choose the order for these? I really hope that it lets us choose the order here. So we'll put click each any order. Okay, so we'll do Cryptbreaker, Grave Titan, Grizzlebrand. So Grizzlebrand is on top. So if we find a Lotus Petal, we can put Grizzlebrand into play on turn 2. Don't find it here. Let's use Bazaar again. Okay, discard Swamp, Swamp. Archon. I think I'll just be okay with Shallow Graving Archon instead. Then we'll play Bauble. I'll Bauble now in case we top deck like Fatal Push or something. Sneak Attack on top. Okay, so both players are doing some broken things. Good to know about. Entomb, interesting. Probably don't want to do that right now. We have plenty of stuff in the graveyard. They don't have a land. Okay, so we're going to untap and Shallow Grave. So again, we're going to hit them for 12. We're going to draw 2 cards. Make them discard 2 cards. If they went land Sneak Attack there, they could beat this, but now we're in a really good spot. They basically need to have like Black Lotus or something into Sneak Attack plus Activate. But the thing is, like, we're actually really good against Sneak Attack in general. If they take out all of our lands, that's totally fine, because we only need like 1 or 2 lands to combo them. And if we like gained life, so we can survive like any sort of damage based thing. We do need to find another reanimation spell, but we get 5 looks by our next turn. We're pretty likely to find something. Bazaar of Baghdad has been so good this game, just churning through our deck. Okay, this is very weak. In fact, I think this helps us, if anything. They get to kill both of our lands, but they're also killing both of their own lands. And our life total is super high. I'm totally fine going to 19. Good to know about Shallow Grave. That does make Archon a bit more of a liability. But this is fine. So hopefully we can find Reanimate. Let's use Bazaar. Okay, Vampiric Tutor can find us the Reanimate. Let's discard Swamp, Lich, Swamp. Then when they sack this, they are going to kill our Swamp. So we cannot combo kill them this turn. But we can put Grizzlebrand or Grave Titan into play next turn. We also could just top deck it. Okay, we don't top deck, so let's go Swamp Pass, holding up Vampiric Tutor. Alright, so we'll Vamp for Reanimate. Okay, they just concede. Actually, at that point, we could also just get Exhume, because they don't have any cards in their graveyard. So that just shows you the power of Bazaar. We were able to draw through so much of our deck and just find all the right cards. Our starting hand had just all lands and 2 huge creatures in play, but when one of the lands is Bazaar, that's a great hand. I don't recommend you start first picking this, but when you're in Reanimator, it's maybe the best card, other than Entomb. Alright, so we're playing against Black-Red, Sneak Attack, Reanimator. Thundering Titan is so bad against us. I don't think Massacre Worm is where we want to be. Ashen Rider is better, but we could also just not play an additional reanimation thing. I don't think we need Shriekmaw. I guess I will bring in Ashen Rider. We could play Mirror Battlesphere. And then some of the spot removal is kind of weak. Snuff Out is fine against... I guess we just don't know what they're sneaking into play yet. Do we just play, like, Woe Strider for value? Seems kind of weak. So these are all the cards that we want to play, and then we need to add 2 more. One option is just playing Basalt Monolith, which gives us very easily hard casting these things. I really wish we had more discard spells. I might just play Bitter Blossom, actually. It's not amazing, but it's pretty good against Sneak Attack. Like, just making blockers means that their Sneak dude is less scary. And then could play the Cabal Ritual on the draw. Yeah, I'll play Ritual to be a little faster. And we'll submit like this. So as we did in that game, we'll mulligan somewhat aggressively, but not mulliganing this hand. We can Vampiric Tutor for Entomb, and then turn 3, Entomb, Animate Dead. Duress, okay. So that's probably taking Animate Dead, which means that we are a little bit further away from comboing, but with the Vampiric Tutor, we're just 1 good draw away from setting it up. Yeah, they take the Animate Dead. That's a good pick. This card is especially good in this matchup because we can Animate Dead their things as well. Alright, drawing a land there was bad. There's an argument for vamping for Bazaar of Baghdad here, but I think I would rather just save this, and then if we find either Entomb or a reanimation spell, then we can set it up. Okay, Bauble. Let's Bauble ourselves, and then we can set it up with Vamp. Okay, Demonic Tutor is a great card to draw, so we'll draw that, and then what we can do is, we can't quite kill them next turn, but we can kill them the turn, or we can, like, put something huge and play the turn after. We can Vampiric Tutor end of turn for Entomb, and then we can play Demonic Tutor to find Exhume or something. So let's put Entomb on top of our library. And we'll play Demonic Tutor. And I think... So we were going to get a reanimation spell here. Animate Dead is actually the one that I would like the most. You know, I might just take Shallow Grave, actually. So, we need to decide several things. First of all, what are we putting into play? I think it's best just to get Grizzlebrand. You know, I'm going to take a little bit of a risk and take Exhume, I think. Because Exhume lets us keep the Grizzlebrand in play, and it doesn't require us to pay a lot of life. If we reanimate Grizzlebrand, that puts us down to 10, and then if we pay 7 life, we're down to 3, and they could, like, burn us out, or they're just like, that seems a little too risky. The risk of Exhume is that if they have a way to put something into the graveyard, they get their thing back too, which is kind of bad. And the risk of Shallow Grave is just that we lose our thing. Maybe that's fine, though. Maybe just hitting them once with the Grizzlebrand is enough. You know what? Yeah, I think that actually is the play. Let's take Shallow Grave. And then we go end of turn, Exhume for Grizzlebrand. And then we can Shallow Grave, Grizzlebrand into play, draw a ton of cards, hit them for 7, draw a ton more cards, and potentially put something else into play too. Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Okay. This is fine. I mean, they could potentially do something pretty scary next turn, but we're going to get to combo them here. Yeah, I think I like still getting Grizzlebrand over Archon. We'll take our draw. Bazaar of Baghdad's interesting, but let's just play Shallow Grave here. You'll go draw 7 cards. So our goal is to put another huge creature into play this turn. Ashen Rider would probably be the best because we can attack their mana. Okay, I'm happy that we found Lotus Petal. This is great. Alright, let's attack them for 7. Okay, now we have a few options. We actually didn't find another reanimation spell. So, should we draw 7 more? I think I will draw 7 more. So, we could go Imperial Seal for reanimate, Bazaar of Baghdad, discard the Archon, Lotus Petal, reanimate Archon. I think I'm just going to draw 7, though. We're pretty likely to find something good here. This lets us not use the Imperial Seal and keep our mana, because best case scenario is that we can somehow Hymn to Torok them and put something into play. Okay, we find the reanimate. That's great. Also, Exhume. Maybe that's better. Okay, let's do this. We'll play Putrid Imp, which is just going to be a reasonable clock here. So we could... Ah, it's so close. We could either put Archon into play or Hymn to Torok them. Unfortunately, we can't quite do both. We're 1 mana short. Having Dark Ritual here would be really nice. Also, having Cabal Ritual would be really nice. But we don't hit either of those. I think I'm going to start with Swamp Hymn to Torok them. That does so. There's a few reasons for this. One is we could potentially hit a big thing from them and then reanimate their thing, and that also just like decreases the chances of them being able to combo kill us on their turn. The problem is it lets them attack us with the Goblin Shaman though, which I don't love. Maybe we're just supposed to put Archon into play, which makes them sack their Goblin token and just means we have a threat down. It's really close. I don't want them to have 5 mana though. But I guess if they are attacking us with the Goblin Shaman and they're not using Sneak Attack. I wish I just had a Thoughtseize here. Like if I could just Thoughtseize them and then go and then put something into play, that would be the best case scenario. We could also put Ashen Rider into play, but that seems a little bit worse. Very interesting decision here. I think I'm going to Hymn to Torok them. I think if we were able to untap, we are going to be in a dominant position, and we just want to minimize the chances of them doing something broken here. So him targeting them. Hopefully we hit something big. Okay, Sneak Attack and Shallow Grave. It's very, very happy to see those two gone. Then we'll play Lotus Petal, Putrid Imp. Yeah. Which lets us get a discard outlet into play for next turn. It's also just a reasonable attacker here when they're at 13. So Putrid Imp. And then we'll go to discard. And I think I want to save my reanimation spells in my hand, or my big boys in my hand, because I don't want to let them reanimate our things. Discard a bunch of lands. Bitter Blossom and Imperial Seal. So this is the key turn. Next turn we can put our Ashen Rider and Archon of Cruelty into play. Kind of funny that neither player has any creature card in the graveyard here. So these are the last two reanimation spells in our deck, worth noting. Alright, they discard just a land, so they're not doing anything too... Okay, yeah, this is super slow. We should be able to beat this pretty easily. So they get to hit us for 2, bake a treasure, this should be fine. Alright, they're done, we untap. Alright, so let's start by just hitting them for 2. Go land, hit you for 2. Then we'll discard Archon of Cruelty, play Exhume. They don't have a way to discard at instant speed, almost definitely. So you get to bring back Archon, which will kill their goblin and make them discard a card. And of course we want to do Exhume first, because if we were to reanimate the Archon first, then they could discard a big thing from their hand, and the Exhume would let them bring back something. So Archon hits the board, drains them for 3. They discard Wormcoil Engine, so we could reanimate their Wormcoil, but I think I'd rather bring back Ashen Rider. We're dead to, like, Char, but I really don't think they're a Char deck, so I think it's fine to go to 4. So discard Ashen Rider, reanimate Ashen Rider, take out their Mountain. Then we'll play Crypt Breaker and pass. And now our board is great, of course. If they are able to sweep our board somehow, we can exile something with Ashen Rider dying. But we are actually out of reanimation spells. We've played all 4 of our reanimation spells now. We could still win pretty easily, even if they kill all these things. Like Custody Lich plus Mishra's Factory kills in 1 turn. I don't really know what we're afraid of here. I guess if they could put Massacre Worm into play, that would kill us. But they don't have much mana. Alright, sweet. This deck seems really, really powerful. It's fast, it's consistent, it's interactive with creatures, not interactive with, like, combo, so that honestly could be one of our tougher matchups. But we were able to be faster than they are, and that's a good feeling. And we are 1-0. See you in round 2. Alright, here we are for round 1. We are on the draw, but our hand is amazing. We could combo them on turn 3. We could Hymn to Torok on turn 2. We do need to find a land, but best case scenario is we find... Well, I guess true best case scenario is we just rip an Entomb off the top. But if we find a land, we can go turn 1 Imperial Seal for Entomb, turn 2 Hymn to Torok, turn 3 Entomb plus either one of these, depending on what they do. Okay, drawing Archon is probably the worst draw in our deck. Let's Mishra's Bauble targeting ourselves. If it's Swamp, it's kind of close. Okay, Liliana, we don't want that, so let's play the Imperial Seal, replace that with Entomb. Pass. Pack Rat, okay, that's probably going to be too slow. Nice, we drew the land. That's what we were hoping for. So now let's Hymn to Torok them. Just slow him down. Phantasmal Image, really good to hit that. Image is great against Reanimator. We'll pass. And now in our upkeep, we can entomb something and then bring it back. And we need to decide what thing we want to do for that. Probably just Grizzlebrand. Yeah, let's put Grizzlebrand into play here. And I think I'm going to go with Animate Dead over Shallow Grave here because I want to Shallow Grave this Archon. Now, Exhume is awkward here because they can put Phantasmal Image into play and copy something. So we're not going to be Exhuming here. All right. Good cards. So let's just go to discard. The Snuff Out might be kind of weak. We can go to discard, pitch Swamp, Archon probably. Okay, they kill our Grizzlebrand. This is fine. And now on our next turn, we'll Shallow Grave the Archon, and then potentially even, we could Shallow Grave Archon, and then reanimate Phantasmal Image to copy Archon. And that's not quite lethal, but it's very close. Okay, Masquerorm, another solid draw. Let's Shallow Grave. Bring back Archon. Alright, sweet. So, Grixis, mid-range. Based on what we've seen so far, should be a pretty good matchup. We do need to worry about Phantasmal Image, but really the question is how much counter magic they have. This could be a Bloodghast matchup, although it's bad against Packrat. I kind of think we just run it back. I guess Snuff Out might be kind of bad. It's okay against... Well, actually, it's not even that good against Phantasmal Image because they're usually going to be copying one of our black creatures. So if we're cutting the Snuff Out, we could bring in maybe Bloodchief's Thirst on the draw. We haven't seen that much of their deck, but they're pretty likely to have stuff like Ragavan. Yeah, having a little bit of interaction on the draw seems good. Oh, Shriekmaw might be kind of weak too. Maybe we're supposed to be playing like Cabal Ritual over Shriekmaw. We'll see. We don't know that much of their deck. If they're playing a lot of red creatures, then that'll be good. Okay, I think this hand is a keep based on the strength of Bazaar of Baghdad. Happy to see no 1-drop. Alright, I'll just play the Bazaar and pass. No Doughty Voidwalker. No Doughty Voidwalker. Hymn to Torok. Interesting. Okay, I'm going to let this resolve. My hand's actually quite bad. None of these cards I care about. I do care about just like card quantity because we do need to have cards to discard to the Bazaar, but that's fine. So let's do this. Okay, discard these 3. Okay. Our hand is bad, but I think with the Bazaar, that's honestly fine. We don't need a quantity of resources. We just need to find the right cards. Thoughtseize me, baby. Okay, they loot. They could reanimate something this turn. Faithless Looting is so good. I would love that card in our deck. Okay, Ashen Rider in the yard. Can they put that into play? No, they can't. So let's Bazaar. Draw. Okay, Imperial Seal gives... We can Imperial Seal for reanimate and then use Bazaar and then play and then put Ashen Rider into play. I think that's worth it. Ashen Rider is pretty good against Black-Red because they're much more likely to have like just something that kills it instead of exiling it. So go land, last card, reanimate. Ashen Rider is not like I would much prefer to be putting Grizzlebrand into play so we could restock, but this is still fine. If they have Shallow Grave here, it would really get us, but I think that's pretty unlikely. They probably would have used Shallow Grave on their turn. So we have no cards now, but we do have a turn 3 Ashen Rider. We can take out their red source. This will kill them pretty quickly, and then even if they're able to kill it, we get to exile one of their lands and put them very low on resources. And then we also have Bazaar to dig, so we're pretty likely to be able to find another way to reanimate. Liliana, okay. Sack this. I think I'm just going to hit a land over Liliana. Don't care that much about the Liliana here. We have a lot of very live top decks. Shallow Grave for Putrid Imp. Well, if we just pass, they're very likely to plus Liliana. So I'm just going to Shallow Grave to bring this back. It's not good, but it's a 2/2. It'll kill the Lily. Otherwise, so what I want to do is hold cards in hand and get up to 2 cards, and then when we have 2 cards, we can just be Bazaarring every turn and just digging for our reanimation spells. Shallow Grave is really awkward here. It's not that good to be killing the Liliana, but I think this is the play. So they are ahead here because we're even on mana and they have 3 cards. But we have a lot of draws that would just win. Anime Dead would win. I guess Exhume wouldn't. Oh, yeah, all right. There's the Anime Dead. That's kind of awesome. All right, so we'll bring back Ashen Rider. Take out one of their swamps. If they can kill the Ashen Rider again, then they lose their last swamp. Oh, they have Force of Will? Whoa. Okay, not a card I was expecting. Fair enough. Do we want to just tap this Bazaar to mill 2 here? I don't think so. I think I'm going to just untap. Vampiric Tutor. Okay. So we've already gone through Anime Dead, Shallow Grave, and Reanimate. Our only one left is Exhume. That's actually quite bad. Because they have Ashen Rider in the yard. So I'm not really sure how we win from this position with that Ashen Rider being in their graveyard. We could, what's our plan here? It sucks that they have that Ashen Rider. So one option is to vamp for him to Torok and just take out their last 2 cards. But I think we need to actually win this game somehow. Yeah, I think I'm just going to take a draw step. Archon of Cruelty, okay. All right, let's pass. If we exhume Archon and if we exhume Archon into play, they just get back Ashen Rider and exile our Archon. Let's take another draw step. Okay, Crypt Breaker is actually really good here. That's a plan. We can just win with Crypt Breaker. Yeah, that can just make an army of 2/2s and potentially get there. They also might just kill it, but it's something that we can cast with only 2 mana. Makeshift Mannequin on Archon. Okay. They go after a swamp, okay. So I think we just have to let this happen. This Ashen Rider will kill us pretty quickly. Okay, yeah, I think we're just dead, actually. Yeah, this is the problem. We only have 3 reanimation spells. With all our tutors, we're going to be able to get... Okay, I'll skip this. We're going to be able to reanimate pretty quickly, but if they can counter a couple of our spells, then we just run out of ways to win the game, which kind of happened there. Do we want to make any changes on the play? Shriekmaw seems weak. We could play Woe Strider just as a solid card. Could also play another land. Could play Ashen Rider, but that seems a little loose. I'm just going to play another land on the play. We can filter them away with Bazaar. And then also, we can just hardcast our threats. Okay, this hand is too bad. This hand can put Grizzlebrand into play on turn 3. Let's put Archon back into the library. So we could vamp for Entomb right now. I think that's probably the line. Although we'll see what they do. They could potentially put something into play on turn 2. Okay, Chupacabra's fine. It's kind of good against Exhume, but yeah, that seems fine. So I think I will Vampiric Tutor here. Well, I guess there's no need. So I thought it was likely that they would be playing Exhume on turn 2, then I would definitely want to get the Entomb now. But given that we almost definitely are not going to need to Entomb here. Well, actually, no. We want to have an extra mana on our Shallow Grave turn. So, yeah, let's do this. We'll vamp for Entomb. This deck just has so much consistency because we have so many cards that let us search our library. So we pass with Entomb up, and then next turn we can put Grizzlebrand into play, draw 7, and have 1 mana at least left over. Pack Rat. Okay, that's not going to get the job done. So, Entomb for Grizzlebrand. They might have Force of Will. If they have it, they have it. Nice. Okay. Do we want to pay life again? I think not, actually. Well, okay, so if we pay life again, we could hit Lotus Petal and him to Torok them. But I think I would rather just play Crypt Breaker and pass. No, Crypt Breaker is slow. What's our plan? Next turn we want to go Putrid Imp, discard Archon. I guess we don't have a way to reanimate next turn right now. Yeah, I think I will draw one more time. Our life total is still high. Okay, there's a reanimation spell. That's nice. Let's just kill their thing so they don't have a discard outlet, and then go to a discard on our own turn. Yeah, let's just go to discard now. So we'll discard 3 swamps. There's another situation where I think I want to keep all my big things in my hand so they can't reanimate them for us. Although we could put Massacre Worm into the yard. Yeah, I don't want to have Massacre Worm in our hand, and I'm fine with them reanimating that. Maybe Liliana. Yeah, we'll discard this Liliana. And then we need to do one more. We'll do, I guess, this Liliana too. Again, we could have discarded Archon, but that's just risky in case they have a way to bring it back. So on our turn, we can him to Torok them and put Archon into play. That seems really good. Fable. Necromancy on Massacre Worm, not a problem. In fact, I'm happy to see the Necromancy go. So let's go land. Him to Torok first to play around Force of Will or something. We hit 2 blue lands, alright. Then we'll go Putrid Imp, discard Archon, reanimate Archon. So this puts us down to 3, but then back up to 6, so we're out of burn range. We kill their Massacre Worm, they're down to 1 card, and that is game. Alright. This deck seems so good. See you in the finals. Alright, here we are for the finals against Small Sam 27. I think we've lost every single die roll, which is a little rough, but our hand's great. Turn 3, Archon of Cruelty with Snuff Out up. We'll definitely keep. If we find Lotus Petal, we can do it on turn 2. If we find Entomb, we could also do it on turn 2, and we get 2 draws. We are going to be paying a lot of life between Snuff Out and Reanimate. So against some decks, that could be a problem, but I think it's probably going to be fine. Zyator's Proving Ground, okay. Let's bauble them, I think, in case we find Fatal Push. Okay, Remand is a good card to know about. A lot of colors going on over there. Chart a course, okay? If they discard a big creature, we could just reanimate on turn 2. Oh, they discard the remand. That's very strange. Okay, I think I'm just going to get this Una's Prowler into play, which is, just a reasonable clock on its own. It does hit for 3 in the air turn. Hopefully they just play like Ashiok or something dumb. Oh my gosh, okay. So they might have Force of Will, but if they don't have Force of Will, then we're in a phenomenally good position. We even draw another reanimation spell, okay. I think I will... I guess I'll reanimate so we can... Yeah, we'll reanimate. This way we can play Demonic Tutor if we want to. Okay, I'm going to Demonic Tutor for Entomb. And then next turn we can go Enemy Dead Entomb. Oko? No. Sower of Temptation. Okay, this is not a problem. We're just going to snuff it out end of turn. So we get to attack with our Archon. We could beat this pretty easily even without that, but snuff out makes it easier. Snuff out's so good. 0 mana traded with their 4. I mean, that just shows the power of this deck. We didn't even have a turn 1 play, really. I guess Bobble, but then, yeah, really, really powerful after that. So they're playing like a 4-color blue deck, potentially 5-color. So Sword of Fire and Ice is very strange. I guess they are 5-color if they're playing Golos. This should be like the best matchup. They're just clunky and, yeah, not really well suited to beat a combo deck. They're just trying to outgrind people. What do we want to cut? Shriekmaw and Snuff Out are good against their Sower. I kind of think we're just supposed to run it back. Could cut Custody Lich for like a land, but we're on the draw. Yeah, let's just run it back. Alright, fighting for the trophy. We have a good hand. This hand can kill a creature, and it can also put... we can Vamp for Entomb, and then Entomb Shallow Grave on turn 3 for either Archon or Griselbrand. There's even some argument for Grave Titan. Grave Titan would hit them for 6 and put 8 power onto the board. But it's probably just best to do Griselbrand or Archon because that gives us card draw, so it sets up another reanimation card. Opponent's down to 5 also. I mean, you never know. It's Vintage Cube. They could just go land, Black Lotus, Time Twister or something. But you got to feel pretty good about our spot here. Having 3 tutors plus Entomb is just insane. This is basically the perfect Reanimator deck. Alright, we can't Fatal Push that, but it's fine. We'll Vamp for the Entomb. And pass with Entomb plus Shallow Grave up, or Entomb plus Fatal Push up. And then do we take Griselbrand or Archon? If they put another permanent into play that we care about... Oh, okay, Time Walk is fine. They didn't even have a land, okay. Oracle of Moldiah, okay. They get their land. They could have Spell Pierce, I guess. But I think in this situation, we just go for Archon. That takes out everything that they have. They have 2 cards in hand, 2 creatures. Play land, play around Daze. Shallow Grave, hopefully no Spell Pierce. Alright, nice. This should be game. We have Fatal Push for their Hierarch. Alright, sweet. Really, really dominant league there. Let's pull up that deck list. Sitting on 53 trophies. It's possible Geeky Jackson is within reach. We'd have to play a lot. All right, this was our mono black reanimator deck, and it was just absolutely broken. One of the best vintage cube decks I've ever drafted, frankly. It had no power. Like, if we had Black Lotus or something, I think it would be definitively the best deck I've ever played. But there's a couple things that made it so good. So, first, the reanimation targets are perfect. In my opinion, this is actually the exact 4 cards that you want. Potentially, we were placing Massacre Worm with Sundering Titan, but Grizzlebrand for power card draw, Archon for just being all-around good, Grave Titan for board presence, Massacre Worm to take out small creatures. We covered all of our bases. I like to have my reanimation targets fill different roles. If you have like Terastodon plus Woodfall Primus, they kind of do the same thing. They both kill non-creature permanents. They both can't deal with creatures. They both don't draw cards. They really fill the same role. So I like to have different types of reanimation threats, which we really had here. Second, we had a really good suite of removal spells between Snuff Out, Fatal Push, Shriek Maw. Really cheap, especially Snuff Out, and flexible, so we could just kill whatever the opponent was doing and keep ourselves alive in the first turn or two. And then the most important thing was the consistency. So we had 4 1 or 2 mana reanimation spells: Shallow Grave, Exhume, Animate Dead, and Reanimate. We also had 3 1 or 2 mana tutors: Vampiric Tutor, Imperial Seal, and Demonic Tutor. And then we had Entomb, which was the key card. Almost every single time we were tutoring for a card, it was Entomb. And then with this hand, like, if you have Entomb, if you have any of your 4 reanimation spells, plus any of your 4 Entomb or your 3 tutors, you can put a creature into play on turn 3. And also, if you just have the Entomb plus a tutor spell, then you could just tutor for Reanimate and have the same thing. Just really, really consistent. And especially with the London Mulligan, pretty much every single game, we were able to either keep a hand that could put a big thing into play on turn 3 at the slowest, or keep a hand with Bazaar of Baghdad, which gives us so much card draw that we're very likely to be able to do that still. Bauble was also really good for card selection. Lotus Petal was good after drawing with Grizzlebrand. We never really used the Lilianas, but they're good enablers as well. This deck was just great. Other than the lack of fast mana and the lack of discard, it was perfect. I think if I could add one card, it would certainly be Black Lotus. But sans Black Lotus, if I could make a couple changes, it would be to cut Custodial Lich and Liliana the Last Hope for Thoughtseize and Duress. Just for cheap ways to disrupt their hand and pick apart their thing. Because the one weakness of this deck was that there was a few times where we could put a huge creature into play, but then we just pass, and we hope that that creature is enough. And if they're able to combo kill us, or like Phantasmal Image, copy our Archon, or something like that, we are a little bit exposed. So Thoughtseize is a good way to ensure that you're not going to have we're able to do something that can only be beaten by a very small number of cards, and Thoughtseize lets you remove those few cards from their hand. So that would have been nice, but still, really, really strong deck. Trophy. Almost every single game felt not close. Black was open. Yeah, that's how you first pick a Reanimate and ride that to victory. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.